Hello, we are going to take a look right now at our first packet, our Unit 0 Chemistry Skills Calendar and Packet. Go ahead and grab your packet out if you don't already have it, and something to write with so you can jot down a few things as we go. First thing I want you to do, no matter what, is go ahead and put your name on your packet. Please do that when you get yours. I have a lot of them that are left in class, and I need to be able to track down whose it is. So this is our first packet. There's a couple things that come in all of them. The first page is going to be your calendar, and this is going to be like your reference for the entire unit. So you really want to pay attention to the calendar here. On the back of your calendar, on the next page, you're always going to find some extra resources. So if you get stuck on something and maybe need a little more information or a little more practice, this is a nice place to look for some extra examples and videos and things like that. You also have some extension work. So this is if you are wanting to just make sure you're prepared for the AP exam and make sure that you're practicing along the way. This is places where you can go and get extra practice for the AP exam. I also have some materials in class that can help with that as well. So if you're looking for passing the AP exam, especially with getting that 4 or 5, that is some extra work you can do to make sure you're achieving at that level. The next page that's in all of your packets is the objectives. So it's listed at the top. We're in Unit 0. This is one that I have added because I know there's some background skills that we all need that are basically assumed that you already know when you start the course. Well, I know what you guys have learned in your previous chemistry class, and I know some of these skills we don't have or we need a refresher on. So that's why I created this unit before we jump straight into the College Board curriculum. So with this, it's the same setup for everything. It's going to have the topic listed, the learning objective, so what are we trying to learn, and then some ways to assess yourself if you do know that. So they're I can statements. So we will identify elements and ions and write their formulas from their names. So at the end of the unit, you can use this as a checklist to make sure that you understand what's going on in the unit. So like I can write the formula of an element from its name. I can identify the charge of the elements in these groups. I can write the formula of a polyatomic ion from its name, and you're given a list of those. So those are skills that we would want to have achieved by the end of the unit. So this is just the first topic within that unit. We've got our vocab, and then these are extra review questions. You can use them to review for that particular topic or for your unit test, that kind of thing. So it lays out each learning objective for each topic. And again, there are knowledge and vocabulary and practice questions. So you've got this as a resource throughout the unit. You've got the rest of your topics on the back. And then we move straight into our packet. So our packet is labeled with page numbers. So we'll reference those as we go through the unit. And then it'll have, typically it will start and look like this for each topic. I did include something as kind of some pre-work for safety and lab practices. So this is some questions. This will be part of your first thing we want to do before we do our safety quiz. So this is kind of just a quick review of some safety stuff and some things to think about. And then you'll be able to take your safety quiz. But typically the units, the topics in each unit will start out with vocabulary. They're matching. I like you to do them before you do your notes, so you have those words to use or to listen for as you do your notes. Or if you feel more comfortable, you can do your guided notes and then come back to your vocabulary and match them based on what you learned in your notes. So you can kind of take either approach. Next, you'll find, don't know why I rewrote that, but you'll find the guided notes. So guided notes, they're going to be found with a video on YouTube, and my YouTube channel will be linked on Teams, so you can find it easier. I would go ahead and subscribe. It also reminds you here, YouTube channel. Subscribe for ease of access. It'll make it easier when I update things and stuff for you to find it, and just to make sure that you're finding my channel all right. So You'll watch the video, and then the video will guide you through filling out the notes. They are guided notes, so they'll have some fill in the blank stuff. I do expect that you are completing this. It might have some things where you're filling in some stuff. So like these have the polyatomic ion names. In the video it gives you their chemical formulas, and we'll be filling those out, that sort of thing. Once you get to the end of your notes, so here's some of those polyatomic ions. So this is the end of the notes. It'll have some sort of practice. For this one, because it's revisiting the element names, symbols, and charges, it's just I did some online practice with quizzes. So these QR codes are going to take you to the places for these first 2 bullet points. And then you're going to review your polyatomic ions. Now I'm only asking you to memorize 5 of them right now, the 5 that are listed up here. So you're going to practice writing their symbol and charge on a separate sheet of paper, 5 to 10 times each, and get them memorized, and save that piece of paper to show me. So that's going to be part of your work for this. So example, I'd write NO3 minus, NO3 minus, nitrate, nitrate, and practice that 5 to 10 times till I got it down, right? Once you get through your practice, you're going to see that it has this kind of big line, and then it goes into the next topic. That is your signal that you are ready to do your mastery check. There's a little note about the mastery check here. You will be able to use your periodic table. For all mastery checks, you'll be able to use a periodic table, calculator, if needed, and your AP Chem equation sheet. It will be the AP periodic table. We want to be consistent with the materials we're using all year. So that's the stuff you're allowed to use on every test and every mastery check. So you'll want to have that stuff available and be practicing with it. So once you get that section done, you'll bring your packet up to me and I'll check it off. Make sure you've got everything. Check it off in your packet. Excuse me. And you will be able to complete your mastery check. So it's like a mini quiz. You'll take it. You'll go to a side counter and complete it on your own. And then I'll check it and make sure you're on the right track. If you're not, then we'll do have some discussion and figure out where we have gaps, and we'll learn from that and do a retake. Okay? And then the other topics follow in that same pattern. So you'll see this one has vocabulary, we've got our guided notes, and then it does have some other practice here. So these ones, again, you'll want to complete before you do your mastery check. That's the expectation. This one you're using your calculator to practice with, so we're learning how to use our calculator, and that's part of your mastery check, is knowing how to use your own calculator there. Then we've got topic 3 on significant figures. That has a little bit longer notes, goes on for a couple of pages, and then gets into the practice here. There is I did split this one's notes into 2 smaller videos. So it goes into what significant figures are and then how to calculate with them for the second video. So you can kind of practice with how to identify and count significant figures, and then you can practice separately with the calculations if you want to break it up in terms of your practice and your notes that way. You'll notice on some things that there's a little bit more practice. For things that have a little more practice on them, it's because there are topics, there are different areas in chemistry where we need to be able to not sit and think about it. We just need to know it, and we need to know it quick. So significant figures is something we're going to use all year, and we just have to be familiar with it and know how to do that. So that's why there's lots of practice, and there is on this one optional extra practice. So there are times where I'll have an extended practice that if you need that, you can complete it, but it's optional, it's not required. This next part gets into accuracy and precision. So this is a Tyler DeWitt video. Most of the videos, I would say 95% of the ones during the school year will be from me, but there are a handful that I think are just well made and communicate the same way I would communicate the information, but it's already done, so I'm using their video. Okay. And then this one has an activity instead of regular practice. So this is an in-class activity. So that's something we would want to be prepared for so that when we come to class for that day, we can do that activity, complete it, and then do our mastery check. Topic 5 is more review. It's metric conversions and the metric system. There is an additional piece that you haven't done before, which is nano. So they will get some practice on that. So this is another one that has a bunch of practice reviewing our railroad track method. I do expect that when it says some of these show all work and railroad track, things like that, that we are completing it that way. Okay, we're not taking shortcuts. The AP exam does require you to show your work, so that's non-negotiable. So that's something you need to be aware of, but it does have a lot more practice. Again, we need to be able to do metric conversions without thinking about it. And then our last topic is on our lab technique, which is filtration. There was a part that got cut off here. So it says typically this is used to separate the results of a chemical reaction called a precipitation reaction. A precipitation reaction usually consists of the following steps. So if you want to write that down, you can. Sorry about that getting cut off. My image shifted. So this one, there's a little bit of reading, a little video to watch, a second short video to watch that goes through the technique, and then your practice on this one is a lab application. So you want to make sure you've got the pre-lab done before class so that during class you do your warm-up and you can jump right into the lab itself. You don't want to wait till class to do a pre-lab because you might run out of time to actually complete the lab and then you're going to be behind. Okay. And after you do the lab, then you can do the mastery check for that one. And that's your whole packet. So it's got stuff in it, but it's not super long. This is your shortest and probably easiest unit of the entire year. So we want to make sure we're setting a good foundation here. This last part is some review. I won't always do a whole review like this, but for the first unit, I wanted to give you some things to use, some options. I did make a review using our quizzes. This is going to be given on Teams later. You can keep replaying that. You can use the objective sheet, so the second sheet in your packet, for review questions. You can reuse the 2 quizzes that were done in that first topic. You can practice writing your polyatomic ions again. And then it has a reminder about your calculator. And then this is some review from Honors Chem that we should really be able to do still. That would be a easy expectation, I think, for you to be able to do these. But I did lay out some questions that you can use to practice those 2 topics or those 2 parts. So that's your whole packet for this unit. This is a short packet, 21 pages. Most of our packets are going to be probably more like 40, but they're not as short of a time span. We're only covering this unit this week, and our unit test will be next Thursday. So let's take a look at our calendar and just see how things are laid out. So you've got your kind of topic, what we're working on. You've got the list of things that apply to that topic that you need to complete, and then the expected completion by the end of class. So theoretically, by the end of the first day in class, we wanted to get through watching our class intro video, reading and getting our safety contract signed by you and your adult. Now, you couldn't do that in class, but you can do that tonight. Doing that safety and lab practice questions, so that's your first part of the packet here. And then doing your safety quiz, and you can do that with the link in the packet there. So that's basically what we wanted to tackle today. And then let's look at tomorrow. So by the end of class tomorrow, we want to be down here. So that means that for homework tonight, we really need to be completing some of this, okay? Again, you'll turn in your safety contract tomorrow. But if your goal is to get through this tomorrow, you're not going to be able to do all of this in class, okay? So really what we need to do is probably get through, I would say at least here, if not here, getting through that stuff, just being able to practice those polyatomic ions, maybe those monatomic transition metal ion symbols and charges, and then do your mastery check tomorrow. We don't want to be coming into class with none of this done, especially none of this done, and be trying to complete all of it and get all the way to here in class. It's not possible. Okay? So the guided notes are not that long. They are about 13 minutes. That's a quick one. And the little quizzes practice won't take that long. So when you come into class tomorrow, you'll want to be able to turn in that safety contract. Also turn in your syllabus signature. You might put that on here, and syllabus. And then maybe work through a little more practice. Maybe do these quizzes one more time if you've already completed them, and do your mastery check. Okay, so that's how we want to roll with this. We want to complete this stuff by the end of that period. And then the next day, on Wednesday, you'd want to, by the end of the period, be all the way through the scientific notation practice. Be done with that and doing your mastery check by the end of class. Okay, so that means that I'm not assigning you specific homework, but it is your responsibility to do some homework every night so that you're able to get to the end of that list by that date. Okay, so for instance, if this is Tuesday night, if I've gotten through all of this, Tuesday night, I'm probably going to take care of these two things so that in class I'm doing my practice and then my mastery check. Okay, now you'll notice that so this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So on Thursday, there's not new stuff assigned. It's just making sure that you've got all your mastery checks done through that date. Now it says they are due. So that means if they are after that, they're going to be docked 1 point. Okay. So whatever mastery checks you don't have done by the end of Thursday, I will put in the gradebook as missing. Okay. So they will have a 0 until they're made up, and because they are late, they'll be docked 1 point. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're doing our stuff, that we're staying on track. That's the biggest thing. I do not want you guys to get on track or get off track, because it just gets harder and harder to get back on. So then Friday, we will be working on significant figures. So that means Thursday, really, it's a nice day to kind of get through some of this, so that Friday, we're ready to just jump into that mastery check. Friday would be basically covering topic 3, okay? Which is good because significant figures is a new concept for you guys, and it might take a little longer to work through that one, okay? So that's also the one that has 2 parts to the guided notes. Okay, usually I list them as part 1 and part 2. I forgot to in this one. Then you have the weekend. So over the weekend, we're going to be doing some homework. So you'll notice that both of these are due by the end of class Monday. So that means over the weekend, we need to be doing as much as we can in terms of our vocabulary and our notes. Maybe some of our metric practice. This you have to complete in class, and then your mastery checks you have to complete in class. So we want to get through a good portion of this before class on Monday so we can take care of those things, and then you can do your mastery checks. So you don't just stop at a mastery check and say, okay, I did these 3 things, I'm ready for my mastery check, I'm done. You can keep working and then come back to the mastery checks in class, okay? This is Tuesday. We're going to be learning about filtration and doing our filtration lab. So the filtration lab, it doesn't, just because it's on Tuesday doesn't mean everybody has to do it Tuesday. I will probably have it set up Friday or Monday, okay? One of those. I'll have it set up, and then when you're ready for it, you can take care of it. I do want you to do it with a partner because that just doesn't waste as much materials in terms of chemicals and things. It's more conscious of that, but you'll have your filtration lab. That again is not in your packet. Labs are the only thing not included in your packet, so it's done in class. And then after your lab, you'll have your mastery check. You'll notice the deadline, the second deadline is going to be Wednesday. So that's your last day for the rest of your mastery checks. That is the last day. I do not allow mastery checks on the day of the test. Okay? So if you did your lab Thursday or Tuesday and you need to do your mastery check for it Wednesday, perfect. Okay, you'll be on track. And then Wednesday is really review. Again, these are optional things for review. I'm not going to assign a review, but I have opportunities for you so that you can feel prepared for your test. And then Thursday is going to be our first unit test. All tests in my class will have a multiple choice and a free response section, just like the AP exam. Again, just like the AP exam, you'll be able to use a calculator, your AP periodic table, and equation sheet. And we'll have that on Thursday. Friday of that week is our rally, so that's why I didn't plan it for Friday. I do not like to have tests on rally day because lots of people are gone and it just disrupts the whole flow of things. Also, the last day to add or drop a class or do a schedule change request is that Friday. If you get to this point and you are not really flowing through this, you are not able to stay caught up and stay on track with this, then a consideration of your schedule might be necessary, okay? So that gives you one more day to make that decision if you need to. So you'll notice at the top it says spend about 20 minutes per night on chemistry during this unit. Set a time and just work on whatever you are on. If you finish something, start the next thing. Try to eliminate distractions and get it done. This will build good habits for the semester. So what do I mean by that? So if I'm just going to sit down and do my chemistry, say I'm down here. I don't know, I was in class. In class, I finished all the way up here. I did my mastery check. Now I'm here. So at home, I set a timer for 20, maybe even 30 minutes. 30 minutes is really what I'm going to expect as we go forward. But for this unit and the topics, 20 minutes is probably okay. I'm going to go ahead and complete my vocabulary and probably complete my guided notes. Those guided notes are about 13 minutes as well. So in 20 minutes, I should easily be able to get through vocabulary and my guided notes and probably do a little bit of the practice. That would be a good 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes for all of that. So that in class the next day, I'm finishing this and doing my mastery check. Okay? I'm not going to say specifically which things you need to do as homework. You need to spend 20 to 30 minutes on chemistry, doing the next things on your list. Just because you do one thing, like I did my vocab, doesn't mean you're done, okay? You don't want to just check off one thing. Vocabulary, when it's, matching 3 words, should not take 20 minutes. It should be pretty quick, and we should be moving on to the next thing, okay? So that's how we want to think about our time spent in chemistry. So between your 20 to 30 minutes outside of class and every day and your class time every day, you should be able to easily get through this material. Okay? And when I say every day, I do mean every day. So Saturday and Sunday, you have 2 days. Friday afternoon, we want to count that because I know sometimes it gets to Friday, we're going to a football game, we're staying out, we're not doing homework necessarily, so you got to consider your weekend as Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 3 days. If we're doing 20 to 30 minutes, that's an hour to an hour and a half of chemistry over the weekend. Okay? So that's why when I look down here and I go from Friday being here to Monday, we're down here, that's why, because you spent an hour and a half working on this material over the weekend, we should make significant progress there. That is the expectation. Okay? So I hope I've been very clear with how this kind of works, how you lay it out. Your mastery checks in class, they're not going to announce it or anything. You're just going to come up and complete them when you're ready. But I wanted to lay this out so you guys could see how things worked here. If you have questions on this, confusion, anything, let me know. You can send me a Teams chat. You can ask me in class tomorrow, whatever it is, but you have sat very kindly for a while here listening to me. So have a great night, guys.